Hello everyone. So the time value of money, the concept that we learned on 26th of February from Professor. Actually, I'm just trying to present it in a different format. Probably it was rushed through, um, or many of us were saying that we were not able to understand the concept. So let me try to give an attempt to see if I can make it easy for you guys. And it's all purely from the personal interest, nothing of with no other intention. Okay, thank you. Let's begin. So, what does this actually topic covered? Okay, if you see, as per the book and as per the uh, generic terms about this term, so it covers about the concept and the formulas and its common applications where it all these time value of money the concept is applied, and then the third part is a case study which we had done like the home. Buying a home versus renting it out. So first we'll revise these concepts and probably review these concepts to understand about it. Okay, let's begin. Okay. So the essential formulas that we had in these five or six, that we had in this is like future value of a single amount, then future value of an annuity, then present value of a single amount and present value of an annuity. Okay, these are I think the four formulas, and there is one more addition to it, that's a perpetual annuity. So and then bonds valuation and equity valuation. This I haven't covered in this video, but I'll just cover these in this video. Okay, and then you're talking about that. What does this future value of a single amount means? So suppose somebody gives you promises to gives you uh, 1,000 today. What will be the value of that 5 years down the line? Because of the inflation, because of interest associated with it, or any other reason. Okay, so 1,000 rupees today. What will the value of it 5 years, 10 years down the line? Okay, so basically the case is uh, again 5 years, and the rate of inflation is at 6%, say. So what happens is there is an excel formula, or we will talk about this. So 5 years later this value becomes 1338. Okay, and to calculate in excel, there is a although the book and the professor showed a different formula which we'll talk about that in this slide itself. But this formula in excel actually it gives the same results. I have verified that the future value at 6% rate. 5 years is the term period. There is no initial, or sorry, there is no regular payment in this case. So it becomes, so minus 1,000 is something that we are giving today. So we'll get 1338 at the end of 5 years. Okay. Now the other cases, suppose again all things are same, but I'm just considering 8% as FD rate of interest. So what happens is we put 6% to 8 percent, and then the value becomes 1469. Then, what if the rate FD interest is 8% and the inflation is 6%? So basically, what happens is 8 minus 6%, 2% is your net interest. Okay, that you will be getting. So that becomes 1104. So the gain is only 104 rupees here. Okay, let's dig a bit on the formula. This FV XLS FV formula. It says that FV future value rate is the annualized rate, or it can be a monthly rate or any rate. Okay, the number of years. Now years can also be converted into months. In this case, it's all years right now. Okay, regular payment is during this period of 5 years, 10 years, or whatever the years are there. What is the regular payment being made? And then the initial deposit also, initial payment that you have made for this under this calculation. So and the formula which is shown in the book is like present value into 1 plus r raised to power n. Now this is something which is like the compounded interest formula which we have learned in 7th or 8th. Okay, that the professor was talking about. Then there is a rule associated with it which is called rule of 72. Now what does rule of 72 says? It says that it can be used to calculate the doubling period of a money. So basically divide 72 by 6, you will get 12. That means it will take 12 years to double your money from x to 2x. If it is 8, then it will take 9 years. 72 divided by 9, it will be 72 divided by 8 equal to 9. 9 years to double your money. And if it is 15%, then 15 5 is 75. So approximately 4 to 5 years, 4.5 to 5 years to double your money. Okay, so that's the point about it. Then what are the common applications of this? It's like calculating your expenses 20 years down the line. This is one of the calculate, or there can be other examples like um, okay, let's leave that. I'm not able to recall. Okay, so I hope it is clear up to this point. So I'll move to the next one. So future value of an annuity. Now, first of all, what is an annuity? Annuity is something which is a regular payment. Okay, it's a regular. It's like considered as example of a SIPs that we are doing, or the LIC policies where we are paying regularly in a monthly or in a yearly fashion or quarterly fashion, and then at the end of the term, say 20 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, it can be recurring deposit also in the post offices or in banks. So at the end of certain year you will get an amount back. So that is nothing but an annuity. So future value of annuity is if you are submitting or you are depositing 1,000 rupees annually, what will the value of it 5 years down the line? Now, what happens that in this case and the previous case is that in the future value of single annuity, we have paid single time, and in the annuity case, we are paying multiple times. Okay, so value after 5 years, okay, at 10% rate of interest. So this becomes 6105. Again, the formula is just same, and this value becomes 6105. What happens is on the 1,000 year that you have paid initially, you are getting an interest of for 5 years here. On the second one, you are getting second 1,000 rupees that you have paid in the second year. We are getting an interest for 4 years. Then third year one is getting an interest of for 3 years. That way it is okay. It's going on. So that's why there is an that's called an annuity. So what's the difference here? Here the initial deposit is made zero because uh, uh, it's like an annuity. So that's why I have moved initial deposit into regular payments. Number of years has remained same, which is 5, and then a regular payment is again minus 1,000 rupees every year we are paying. Okay, so that becomes this formula, and then the book says this formula where constant periodic flow into 1 plus r h bar n minus I divided by r. Okay, now I is it's not I, it's 1 actually. Okay, 1 plus r h bar n minus 1 divided by, so I find these formulas a bit difficult to handle. That's why I am using this formula, and this formula is also mentioned on the book. Okay, on the in the summary page, if you go and see, you will find this formula written there. Okay, what are the applications of it? Now, suppose you want to calculate what is the total value of the EMIs being paid for a house, or you are calculating a recurring deposit value, you're calculating an LIC investment value or SIP value. So these are the various methods to. There is various applications for future calculating the future value of an annuity. Moving forward, it likes the present value of a single amount. Okay, now we talked about the future value of a single amount and an annuity, and now we will be talking about present value of a single amount. So suppose somebody says that I'll give you 1,000 rupees 6 years later in 2027. So what is the value of 2000 of 1,000 rupees today, 6 years before? So that's what the calculation is. So it uses the Excel formula like PV, present value at 10% discount rate, or basically rate of interest. Okay, so considering that the inflation is 10%, which is a bit the consideration a bit higher, but consider that the interest is or rate of discount, whatever you want to call it, as 10%. The term is 6 years. There is no regular payment, and at the end of the period, you will get 1,000 rupees as the back. So the present value of that is 564 rupees. Okay, so that's the formula. So present value, rate, years, regular payments none in this case, and the future value is 1,000 rupees. Okay, understood up to this point? Okay, and then according to the book or class, the formula was future value into 1 plus r raised to r n. That's it. Okay, I haven't learned this formula, so I'll probably continue using it because I'm more comfortable doing that. I'll show you how to run these formulas. Okay, in the I'll give the XLS also for you to understand. Then applications is calculating the present value of LIC policy or term insurance. So suppose LIC policy is of 5 lakhs. Okay, so 5 lakhs is the value then which you're getting after 20 years. So what is the value of that 5 lakhs today? So from that perspective, you can calculate. So and the term insurance is of 1 crore. So what is the present value of that 1 crore today? Will that suffice your today's needs? So from that kind of thing we can make out whether it's good or bad, uh, that value. Then comes present value of an annuity. Okay, present value of an annuity. Annuity, as we learned earlier, it's a continuous payment being paid. Okay, so so in this case, we are getting back the money. Say, the case is that you are getting 3,000 rupees for 3 years, and at the end of each term. So every year, you are getting thousand rupees. So what is the present value of this stream, considering the rate of interest discount is 10%? So what happens in this case is nothing but this in future value, or basically the regular payment is here, it becomes minus 1,000 rupees for 3 years, and then uh, zero is the future value. Okay, uh, so what happens is, so you need to just deposit 2486 rupees. So instead of 3,000 rupees, okay, so you need to deposit 2486 1486 rupees, and from that 10% is deducted in the first year, and you get the money as 248 rupees as the interest part. And then everywhere you keep on getting that. And then okay, okay, so that's the present value of. And then the formula in the book is constant periodic flow multiplied by 1 minus 1 divided by 1 plus r is to r, and it's very complex. I find it very complex. Okay, that's fine. And then EMI value today, so summation of all the EMIs that you are doing in the future. So this is being applied in the case study also, which we are doing. And then calculate the retirement corpus value. Uh, okay, because at retirement, what happens? I mean, we'll have a say uh, an amount of X CR, and that from X CR, if you continue to get money at an FD interest or any other interest, how much you will need uh, at that point of time as requirement corpus, that can be calculated, or that can be estimated using this methods. Okay, moving forward, so this was another formula which talked about present value of a perpetuity. So perpetuity is nothing but you're getting 1,000 rupees forever. Okay, forever you are getting 1,000 rupees. So what happens is, now forever means in general in accounting it's considered as 99 years. So what happens is the same formula which is being applied there. It's like the regular payment is of 1,000 rupees, and the future value also is 1,000 rupees. So this 1,000 rupees is not finishing at any point of time. Okay, that's the point. Okay, forever, you are for 99 years or 100 years or whatever. It's perpetuity. So this case the value becomes 10,000 rupees. Okay, and then the other case is like it's a growing perpetuity where we have discounted the inflation also, and then this value becomes 19,848. So according to the book, the formula is a constant periodic flow multiplied by 1 divided by r. Okay. Okay. So this growing perpetuity is not covered in the book. Okay. Mm, this I know it from my personal experience. So now we move to the case study which is being talked about. And before that, I'll also show you. So in XLS, I have done this calculations. So this is the FV formula. Okay. So if you put this, it will show you these things like rate, number of periods, PMTs per month, payment terms actually, uh, PV is present value, and then type, just ignore the type now. Similarly, FV, okay, and then present value calculation, then present value calculation, then this is again present value calculation, this is again present value calculation. Okay, so these are the formulas. I'll give this Excel as a sharing. It's already shared, I believe. Case study which was given to us, and professor also actually talked about it in the class. So I think we need to see this. The first case. Okay, so today the price of the highest house is about 1.25 cr, and while buying the house. So basically, the case is about whether where the house somebody needs to vacate the house in which he is living on rent, and he's able to find an house which is in the same locality, and all other conditions are same, and he has an option to rent the flat or property, or he has an option to the buy the purchase the property. So for purchasing the property there is some values given, and for renting the flat there are some values given. So for purchasing, the value of the house is about 1.25 cr. Then for purchasing, the stamp duty and registration fees needs to be paid, and the down payment of 25 lakhs also needs to be paid. Okay, so the loan amount that he needs to take is about remaining 1 million, actually 1 crore. Okay, so total amount which needs to be paid in the beginning is about stamp duty, registration fees, and the down payment. And I think brokerage is missing here, so brokerage also needs to be added, I believe, which is about 1% of the deal. Okay, and then the loan tenure is of 20 years. It's just multiplied by 12, which is 240 months. Okay, and then this we already talked about. The interest on the loan is about 10.25%. Okay, so this is, so there are some other facts being given, like the total EMI, the EMI schedule of this person is like this those two columns are given in the case study. Okay, these two columns. So it's so these two in total becomes 11 lakh 77,972. I think it's 11 lakh, right? Written house, lakh, yeah. So, okay, so that's the EMI this person needs to pay for availing this loan. Okay, at 10.25%. That is. Then when you are making this payment at the year one, what happens is your balance automatically gets deducted. So from the principal, okay. So 1 crore minus 1,60,000. So your balance becomes 98 lakhs 39,633. So this whole calculation is being repeated across. So okay, okay. Another thing is that from the professor's Excel, I've just moved these columns to understand a bit more. So these are the three columns. These are the columns of our pure calculation, very simple to understand. So this is going down like every month. Uh, the the principal is getting reduced by the EMI EA principal amount. Okay, and then also we can see that in this case the initial years the loan is the interest amount is very high, and as it grows downward, the interest component keeps on going down, and the principal component keeps on going up and up. Okay, so what happens is the tax benefit is being considered here. So what's calculation of tax benefit is, we all know that on the principal amount, the maximum cap is about 1.5 lakhs, right? So as per the income tax rules, so principal amount ATC says that up to the 1.5 lakh principal, you can make out that how much you will get a tax benefit, and on interest you will get the capping of 2 lakh. So what professor has tried to do here is, wherever this principal is more than 1.5 lakhs, he has put a cap of 1.5 lakhs, otherwise the same value. And wherever this value is this interest value is more than 2 lakhs, he has put a cap of 2 lakhs here. Okay, so this way he has calculated the tax benefit throughout. Okay, fine. I think that's also fine up to this point. Now this, I hope this table is this table is clear now to us. Okay, now what he has tried to do is, so suppose this is the total EMI he has to pay, or this is the total uh, uh, total outflows that he has to make. Okay, total outflows that he has calculated here. Okay, or like the addition of the, so EMI is like this, then property tax and the society charges that he needs to make, it's also given like 22,000 per year. And then tax benefit, and then opportunity lost is, suppose he had not given this SC9. SC9 is what, uh, this initial amount. Okay, 33.75. He has not given that in the initial that money would stay in the bank. So the effective tax shield, or that concept professor talked about. Okay, so that concept is being covered here, opportunity cost lost. Okay, so this is about uh, SC9 multiplied by the rate of interest 7%, and then 1 minus the tax shield that you have is about 30%, I believe. Okay, yeah, so 30% here. So that's the opportunity loss. So if we had not given that money would have stayed in the bank, and he would have got interest on that. So that's, although I could not understand this calculation fully, probably we'll need to ask the professor once more to explain this. So a totaling of this is summers is like every year minus 12 lakhs he has to, the cash flow is going out. First year, second year, third year, up to 20 years, the cash flow is, this is how it is moving forward. So this, he has then calculated the PV formula using the same methods that we talked about in the presentation, same calculation steps, but I have calculated it in the steps the way I was trying to explain. So present value of C44 is nothing but a 7% interest rate. Okay, and then M8 is nothing but this first year. Okay, the number of years. So this is the rate of interest. Is the M8 is the period, or the years. Then 0 is there is no regular payment, and then R8 is nothing but your this R8. Okay, cash flow. So what is the present value? So you we are going to pay, or this person is going to pay minus 12 lakh point 12.60 lakhs at the end of first year, right? So what is the present value of that money he has calculated? So that is about 11 lakh 77,000. Similarly, there's a calculation being done. So here the year becomes 2 M9. Okay, so after, at the end of 2 years, second year, again the same amount is being paid, but what is the value of that currently? So this is like, you see it's further reduced to 11 lakh. So 77,000 is the first year cost, or the that is less here. Okay, so this way it has been calculated up to 20 years. Okay, so basically then what has happened is annualized value of the cash flows, present value of the, so in total, if I have to give this much money in 20 years, basically either I give either I pay on this money yearly, or at a 7% interest I get the money, or I have the money today. So this is about 1.33 crores is something that the money I have in my bank account, and it is giving me 7% interest. So with that money I'll be able to uh, make this payments every year. So this is nothing but a present annualized cash flows, and present value of an annuity that we had talked about. So if you see the formula here, okay, this is summation of all the things. Okay. This is summation of all the things, and so that's how it is calculated. Now at the ES0, there is a payment of 33 lakhs also which is being made. So that's also being added. So this is the present value. So he needs to have this much amount currently. Okay. Today he needs to have this amount. And then if the house is sold after 20 years, so this is like the future value. Okay, so he has given this formula of this much, and then he has deducted the brokerage also. uh, so I've calculated like C future value, C44 is the rate of interest, 20 years time period, and this minus C4 is the nothing but your this 1.25 CR, the value of the house today. So this becomes, and then 99% is what? The 1% in the brokerage is lost. So this value becomes equal. So what is the present value of this? Is about 1.23 crores. Okay. Okay. So this is the present value of, suppose you sell the house after 20 years, this is the present value, and for acquiring this house in terms of EMI we need to pay this much, these two things. So what is the difference between these two? Okay, so if you see, it's like this is what we need to have today, present value of the future cash flows, and this is the existing value of the existing present value of the house, if we have to sell it after 20 years. So U32 is this much present value of the house minus these two values. So this is what is coming out. The net present value is minus 43 lakhs. Okay. So net present value. So in terms of suppose you buy the house, your net present value is negative. Okay. So that means you need to pay. You are paying more if you are buying the house. I mean in terms of EMI, not in terms of renting out option. Renting out option is still not calculated yet. Okay, so in terms of EMI, we need to pay more today. That's the conclusion this XLS is trying to give. Now we have to do the similar calculation for in renting out case. So in renting out also we need to calculate all these values and then check out that which NPV is or net present value uh, is greater. If renting out comes out to be a greater negative value, then probably buying is the better option, or the vice versa. Okay. So up to this point, this lecture was covered, and then the renting out option calculation is yet to be done. Okay, in the upcoming two classes. In the So I'll end the video here, and then probably what I'll do is in the background we all of us can calculate the renting out options in PV and then make a comparison at our end. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.